Hello and welcome to this update video. Um, yeah, my last video on this channel is quite horrible, so I thought, holy shit, I have to make a new video and update you guys on the situation and everything that's going on. And I decided to play some Battlegrounds in the background because it's a very popular game. When I bought the game, by the way, it was not popular at all. It was like, I don't know, it had like 1,000 units sold or something like that, or maybe a couple more or whatever, but it was pretty unknown. And I thought to myself, yeah, well, you know, I don't care. I think the game is much better than H1Z1. It's another Battle Royale style game, but I really hated the engine of H1Z1. It had such an incredibly bad technology. The mouse was jittery all over the place, and the net code was laggy and everything. It was just a horrible experience, but the gameplay was so much fun that I thought like, I endure through it. There is nothing in comparison. I have to do it. But then, yeah, PlayerUnknown's Battleground came out, and I was very excited to see it has the Unreal Engine in the background, so I was on the safe side when it comes to like tech stuff. For example, my mouse works perfectly and everything. The resolution on H1Z1 was horrible as well. I think it had problems recognizing my second monitor or something like that, so it started every time I wanted to play full screen, it went to my second monitor or something like that. It was just horrible. Anyway, I'm done rambling about this. Enjoy this video. I think it was a decent round, so I decided to keep it and use it as background footage. In case you have no idea what this game is about, I think it's pretty obvious if you just watch it for a couple of minutes, but even if you don't, you can just alt-tab and whatever. Anyway, so in my last video, I was very upset about my situation. I'm sorry, by the way, if I sound echoey. This is my new place, and I don't know what else I can put into this room to remove this echo. Maybe a bit more carpets or something, but the walls, I have pictures up and everything, so it still sounds very, very echoey here. Maybe some curtains or something for the windows, because I have a big window wall, which is basically just window and a balcony and another window. Maybe that is making the echo worse. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, in my last video I was very upset because I was still in Austria. I was hoping to find a place for me to live, and everything was just going to shit. And I am a person that thinks that basically, if the universe tries to show you this is not it, then you shouldn't just force it, but instead you should maybe just, you know, think like, all right, maybe this isn't really happening right now. So I decided to step away from my goal, or my I don't know what to say to it. My idea to live in Austria. But only for now, because yeah, I have decided to look at different cities in Austria, because honestly, Austria is a much better country than Germany. I'm not sorry to say this. Germany has really gone to shit, and I think you can't really see it if you don't have like this outside perspective. But now that I've lived for 3 months in Austria, holy shit, man, Germany is fucked. I'm really, honestly, you know, I'm not I don't like to bash my own country or something like that, but Germany is such a shithole in comparison to Austria. Holy shit, man, Germany should really, really, I don't know, think about what's happening, whatever. I don't even give a shit anymore. But yeah, my plans are to go back to Austria at some point. Right now I'm thinking like maybe in 1 or 2 years. But yeah, Austria is an amazing country. And yeah, Germany's just, you know, it's such a shithole. I was never really I never really knew why I didn't really like living in Germany, because on the surface everything looks fine, but if you have this direct comparison to a different country that is so close to you and so kind of similar, it has a lot of similarities, but still it's very different. Um, and yeah, holy shit, man, Germany sucks ass. At least Hamburg. I'm not a city traveling guy, so I can only, I guess, speak for Hamburg. But yeah, holy shit, man, Germany really, really, no, this really sucks ass here in comparison. Anyway, so yeah, this is my Austria plans. For now, they are on ice, but for maybe 1 or 2 years. I have to see how long it takes for me to get my next game finished, or at least in maybe early access or something. I'm not sure if I want to sell it in early access, but there are a lot of indications that it might benefit from it, because it's such an open game that I think having community feedback and suggestions would extremely benefit this kind of game, because it's an RPG. And yeah, I want to talk about it more, but right now I just want to talk about Unloved for a second, because I think this is still more, closer or more what people are interested in right now. So I just released a new update yesterday. Today I'm already working on a hotfix that adds a few other things. Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm really sorry that it took so long for this update to come out. But honestly, I was moving cross country 2 times within the last half year. And then I was cut off from the internet for like 3 months, something like that. Or not really completely cut off, but because I had like some different ways to connect. For example, I used my cell phone for the last 1.5 months or something. Used my cell phone, and that really, really blew. It was really balls shit. I have no idea what I'm saying right now. It was shit through the dick, basically, because I was charged by the megabyte, and if you go to any website and it has like a some trailer in a video, something like that, like ads, basically like video ads, you're cursing the hell out of this website and you're like, no, God, please. And you're just, because every fucking minute of this video costs you like €2, $2 or something like that. It was horrible. It was like really, really terrible. And I was like, God damn this shit. I'm exaggerating, by the way. It was not that bad, but still, it was really horrible to be like, oh God, I don't want to visit this website. It has so many images to load. No. That was fun. Not. Yeah, so that was the reason why I didn't really check on the discussion boards on the Unlocked Steam forums. But every, I don't know, once per week or twice per week, I still did it. Just to keep in the loop of what's going on and if there are any issues or something. But I didn't read like suggestion threads or something like that, because I don't know. I didn't want to spend too much time on the internet. It's like you can turn on like this function that it's a not monetized, but a timed internet service or whatever it's called in Windows. But still, some programs just download updates for no reason. You're like, no, don't update, no. It was horrible. Fuck me. But yeah, now I have everything is back. Everything is working. I have internet. Yeah, I have updated all my crap. That led to a few other issues that I've now ironed out like a week ago or something. And yeah, working on this Unloved update, for example, just to give you a little insight of how long this takes. This update was about 4 to 5 days that I've worked on it, because I've added, yeah, I've added one new layout, one new town layout, because it was still on my to-do list for like ages. So I was like, holy shit, I want to finish this to-do list. It was my last point on this to-do list. Yeah, now it's done. And this town layout took me 2 days of these 4 days, 4 to 5 days. And yeah, just, layouting it, then getting all the meshes and arranging them to houses, like, ceilings and floors and walls and doors and hallways and everything. Then putting in all the furniture, chairs and tables and shelves and I don't know, whatever, crates, barrels, everything. And then texturing everything with materials so it looks good. Like the furniture I don't have to, because it's basically already it already has a material when I place it. But all the walls, all the ceilings, everything, and I'm very picky when it comes to this stuff. So I usually don't just use the first thing that comes to my mind, but I try, I test it out. I see like, maybe this looks better than this and stuff like that. So this takes forever. It took 2 days to complete one town layout. And this one is a little bit more tricky than the others because it has a round, like some kind of, I don't want to say tower, but a tower-like structure which is round with windows. And this didn't even took so long, but still, you have to add like the floors and everything, make them round as well and stuff. So this really took a while. And the point I'm trying to make is, when I designed Unloved, I was thinking like, all right, I can easily put in like 100 room layouts and go from there. 100 room layouts sounds like there's a lot of variety. And then when I started making them, I found out that it took way more time than I had anticipated. And this was making it very, very hard for me to keep making room layouts because it's such a slog. And you feel like you're wasting your time because everything is just, it takes so long. So for my next game, I have already thought about new systems to make everything much faster and also to have more, what's the word? I can't think of the word right now, but versatility, that's it. So one of my biggest inspirations for this whole arrangement thing is Binding of Isaac, and also, of course, Diablo 3 and other arranged games. I'm not talking something like, I think Path of Exile does a completely generation of the surroundings, but an arrangement. So, for example, in Diablo 3, you have level designers who create small fractions of, for example, a cathedral, and then the level itself places these pieces together in a different way every time you play. So this is the difference between a random generation and a random arrangement of things. Because I think personally that a random arrangement is much better because it still gives you the feeling of having a handcrafted experience instead of having a completely generated stuff by a computer, because it's always, I think at least, it always feels a little bit artificial or something. I can't really describe it, but it kind of gives you, it gives you a different feeling, I think, when you play it. So I decided very early that I wanted to make a random arrangement of things that I handcraft for the game. And my personal biggest inspiration, or I really can't think of the word right now. Like, my idol or something. I can't think of the word, but I guess you get what I mean. was Binding of Isaac, because the designer made a Q&A about the design process, and he talked a lot of very interesting things that for a designer like me is very, very valuable. And he talked about the process, even about the process of making the game. And he was like, when he first tried the game, he thought like it was so boring that he almost wanted to scrap the whole game. But then he kept adding more and more stuff to it, and then it started to become much more interesting to him. And that was a very, very interesting thing for me, because when I started with Unloved, and even the early access, I think the early access had just had 5 room layouts in total. That was it. 5 room layouts. And that's it. And yeah, even I was thinking like, oh man, can this really work? But then I've kept adding more locations and more room layouts. And yeah, as I've said, I should have thought about this way earlier. But to be honest, the Unreal Engine just added a few features that are required for this, at least for the way I have set up the arrangement and everything. Just a couple versions ago, and Unloved doesn't support this new version stuff. So yeah, for my next game, this is my plan, by the way, I want to have a much bigger variety and a much easier way for me to set up rooms and stuff like that. So there will be also handcrafted stuff, but it will be a much bigger variety and a much higher versatility. For example, Edmund Macmillan, by the way, is the guy who made Isaac, by the way. He set up his rooms that they are basically templates, and wherever they are placed, they get filled in with the stuff from the level. For example, if I transfer this concept to Unloved, if I would make a room and I would place, like, instead of placing chairs and tables and lamps and shelves and whatever, I just place placeholders that say, I'm a small object, I'm a larger object, I'm a huge object, for example. And then if this room layout gets placed inside a clinic, these objects will be replaced, these placeholders will be replaced with like hospital beds and hospital tables and operation theater stuff and stuff like that. So, and when this same room layout gets picked for a apartment, for example, it will be replaced with chairs and tables and lamps and stuff like that. So this gives the game a much higher variety, and the room layouts a much bigger versatility, instead of the way I'm setting it up, because I have to place everything by hand, and it just takes ages, and it's very, very tedious. And I didn't anticipate that. When I started making Unloved, I was like, yeah, I can just put aside like 1 month and add like 30 room layouts, one room layout per day. But then it turned out to be 1 room layout every 2 days. And then after making 1 room layout, my brain is just exhausted by this same process over and over, that I have to take at least 1 day off of this layout making. So it turned out to be 1 room layout every 3 days, in minimum. So, and this turned out to be 1 room layout per week, and then it was 1 room layout per every 2 weeks and everything. Because, I don't know, I'm just a guy, I can't do the same stuff over and over and over. I get very, my brain shuts off very fast. It's I really can't stand tedious work where I have to repeat the same shit over and over and over. Maybe that's why I'm not in a real job, if you want to call it that. Yeah, I can't stand it. It's just my brain completely shuts off. It's my motivation goes way down, and I just can't function anymore. My brain even refuses to think about this stuff anymore. It's crazy. Maybe I'm probably just, a degenerated guy with brain malfunction or something. I have no idea, but at least it keeps me working on fresh, different stuff every day, which is really fun. So yeah, when it comes to this, I'm working on my new game, by the way. And right now, the biggest thing is that I really wanted to show stuff from my game, but I didn't make any graphics yet. So the game right now is in the same stadium, whatever, that Unloved was when you look at the first few Unloved videos that I've made, like the dev commentary videos on Unloved. Yeah, everything looks like a shape, and it's really horrible to look at. But it's the gameplay is starting to get there, and yeah, the next thing that I'm probably starting to work on today or something is the random generation of the new game, and I want to have it much more open. So, for example, I'm not making entire room layouts, but instead I'm making one room at a time, but also adding like corridors and connection stuff. So the random generation will be much more picky and say like, all right, I've placed a big room here, so I will not place a big room right next to it, but instead I will connect it with some smaller rooms or something like that. So it makes the whole level arrangement more interesting. And yeah, I have to see where it goes from there, but in general, I'm trying to make the system by itself much more intelligent, if you want to call it that, or picky, and see how the results look like. And yeah, I've learned a lot, by the way. Even if you look at the last Unloved update, there are so many performance updates and fixes, and I'm very sorry. I have to apologize, I guess, because these fixes and performance improvements were so easy, and I've overlooked them completely because I was just, I don't know, maybe not focused on it, or maybe I thought like, it's still good, or to be honest, my major thought was, I have no idea what I'm doing here, so I don't want to, fidget around with everything and break it. But maybe it comes with experience, or maybe at least now I have some tools in the Unreal Engine. Maybe these tools were always there, but I didn't know that. So now I found these tools that provide insight of the performance of the game. So if you see like glaring issues, like I did with Unloved in the last before the last update, I can easily go in there and think about these issues and think like, all right, for example, the item sparkling effect. That was one major issue that I didn't know. So I thought the Unreal Engine only renders what is currently visible to the player, which is true, except when it comes to particle effects. And I didn't know that. So the particle effects of all items in the whole game were rendered, these little red sparkle effects were rendered for every single item in the whole game at every time, at any time, I should say, which was obviously a major performance dip that I've now fixed. But I didn't know that. So, and I didn't know how to check that, because, if you see, oh shit, my frame rates are down like 20 FPS, what's the issue? I have no idea, honestly. So it was a guessing game until now, that and yeah, it's just like a part of development, I think, that is harder to understand. I think is just performance optimization. And I guess this is why most games do this last. First they design the whole game, and in the end they add performance optimizations. Yeah, because it's just at first, as a developer, you want to see how the game goes and where you can optimize stuff, and you can't really see that until the game is basically not completely done, but at least the majority of the game is finished. Yeah, anyway, so I'm very sorry, but now I've added some performance upgrades. I think they are very, very big, greatly increased performance for myself even. And I have a pretty decent computer. At least, in the town area, I've noticed there were some major performance issues, and these were caused by the lamps. Because, again, I thought as long as you can see them on screen, they are not rendered. But I was false, because lamps are different in the Unreal Engine. As long as they are in your field of view, they will be rendered. But I guess the outside, I have no idea how it works exactly, but now I fixed it, and the lamps are now all only rendered within a certain distance, and if they have a certain screen size, which was way too low, and I've now increased it. So there's a percentage inside the Unreal Engine, and if a light on your screen has a lower effect as this percentage, like for example, it only lights up a small fraction because it's so far away that it on your monitor it's just 1% of everything that you can see, then it will just fade out the whole light. And before it was set to 3%, which is a tiny fraction. So basically every light was always rendered, which is insane because no one can ever see that. So now I've increased it to 10% because, you know, if I have a light that is smaller than 10% of your whole monitor, I think it's a much more much more realistic thing to have a performance increase. Anyway, so yeah, I've added a lot of performance stuff. Oh yeah, if you've, by the way, I didn't talk about this too much, but now I live back in Germany and I have my old furniture and everything now new in my apartment and everything. I don't know why I'm bringing this topic up again, because maybe I'm done with everything else, I guess. But yeah, I had to wait for my furniture for weeks. It was like I was living out of card boxes for so long. It was just horrible. But now everything's fine, everything's nice, and I can, you know, finally, it took me weeks to just calm down with my brain, like getting out of this, I don't want to call it panic mode, but, you know, I was really not in the right mindset for a long time. So, yeah, it's really nice to be able to just sit down and concentrate on the game and not have like financial stuff in the background. You're like, oh my god, I have to pay my utility bills or whatever. And yeah, everything is now set up. My furniture is here, and I have a nice place, and I can rest easy that, you know, I have everything set up, like paying rent and everything. So I can just calm down and work on stuff that I really enjoy. And honestly, I really enjoyed working on Unloved and adding the new challenges. And yeah, it's always really fun. And yeah, in the future, by the way, my next goal is to start learning 3D modeling and animations. And when I get into that, my plans are to have more make enemies as my first animated like thing. And if they turn out really well, I will probably add them to Unloved as well, because the universes are kind of similar, not similar, but they have overlapping ideas or concepts or whatever. So yeah, I'm trying to make models for Unloved in the future, mainly or maybe entirely enemies, because first-person stuff is very, very complicated, much more complicated than I think third-person stuff. But I don't know. We will see. So, but yeah, rest assured, I will still keep working on Unloved because I love the game and people still play it. So yeah, I am all for supporting that. And you know, it's a mutual thing. You support me, and I support you basically. Yeah. And also, I will reveal more of my new game, by the way, in the future, soon, but I don't know when. Anyway, so yeah, that's my video. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.